He'd be like, oh shoot, gotta pay. Two drunk girls saying they getting picked up by Drake, which I thought they was lying at first, but baby, I dropped them off, and now I got niggas fighting in my backseat. Now everybody's seen that shit. What's up, y'all? It's your girl TayPancakes, aka Taylor Stevens, aka Tay.
Where have you been, bitch?
Story about your Uber passengers fighting, but we about to fight.
Calm down.
She sucks ass.
I've been in a little rut for video ideas, but got some bangers coming. Not gonna come with any excuses, because y'all know your girl just be a little off in the head a little bit. So anyways, as you read from the title, this is the reason that I quit being an Uber driver. Yes, I was an Uber driver. If you've been subscribed to me for a while, y'all already know I have had a lot of jobs in the past. One of the ones that I had in LA when I was hustling and bustling, you know, trying to get some quick coins, I was an Uber driver. Well, Lyft specifically, because I didn't qualify to be an Uber driver. But I did ride Uber Eats. So I drove Uber Eats, and I was a Lyft driver. So yeah, the night that I decided to quit Uber, which I didn't know prior to this situation that I was going to end up cutting the app off and never turning it back on again. I had been driving Uber for a couple of months. Your girl was behind on bills, 4 car payments behind, and I had to get some money. I had a car payment and rent was due, baby, and I was like $600-700 behind. So I'm like, how is the beach going to get some coin?
I would like to add that rent was due in like a few days, and by a few days, like 2 days or something crazy like that. It was like 2 or 3 days, and on a typical Uber day, I did not make $700-800 on a regular Uber day.
My dad also drove for Lyft and Uber, and he was telling me his experience, and he was like, oh, I've heard that a lot of people make a lot of money on New Year's Eve. So I'm like, the club or the money? The club or the money? Actually, I didn't contemplate a goddamn thing. I went to the money. Because everybody was like, oh my gosh, you want to go to this party? And at the time I lived in LA, so sweetie, the parties was popping. No, I don't want to go to none of the parties. You know why? Because I gotta get this money. Because guess what? Ain't nobody finna pay my bills. So guess why I was driving Uber, and I was hoping that I didn't end up picking up any of my friends on the way, because LA is, as big as LA is, it is quite small. Everybody's like, yeah, what party we gonna see you at? I'm like, you're gonna see me, you may see me on the way to a party, but you're not gonna see me at a party, because honey, you know. And there was a time where LA made you feel like you had to be ashamed to say that you worked the actual job, because according to niggas in LA, niggas don't work, but in reality, that's not true. Yeah, I was excited to make the money, honestly, because I heard stories people made $800, $1,000. It depends on what city you in. And I'm in a bustling, moving city, Los Angeles. So I'm like, baby, I'm about to get to this money. So I started my day on New Year's Eve off early. I did not start, there's a certain time slot that you can work in Uber. You can't drive for like 3 weeks straight with no breaks. There are labor laws. So I forgot what the time period is. Maybe it was 20? No, it was like 12 hours or 16 hours, something like that. It was something crazy enough for me to be able to work until the next morning, because that's what I did. So I ended up leaving my house to start my Uber routes around 4. So the New Year's Eve route, I prepared myself. I have been driving Uber for a while, but I never came across anybody getting sick in my car, like none of that. But it was New Year's Eve, baby. I had barf bags ready, baby. I had waters ready, snacks ready. You want a mint? That was me. My car was stockpiled, ready for any action that was coming towards me that night. So I'm gonna skip over all of the other crazy stories for the possibility of making it a different story time, but I'm gonna sum up everything. Around 4 or 5 o'clock is when things start getting shaken. People going to, you know, New Year's Eve cookouts. By like 8 or 9 o'clock is when the real money came in. So the surges on New Year's Eve were crazy. For example, I picked a couple up at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock to go somewhere, and their ride there was $50. Coincidentally, I ended up getting them again. I don't know what in small world, but they were drunk when they came back in, and they're like, we're going back to the same place we came from. And I was like, oh, I had you earlier. She's like, oh my gosh, your car smells so good, I remember you. You know how much her ride was home? $250. Busting out the rides, I'm making my money. 6 o'clock come, the later it get, the crazier it get. I get one passenger, they throwing up in my car. I get another passenger, it's 2 drunk girls saying they getting picked up by Drake, which I thought they was lying at first, but baby, I dropped them off at an interesting location for them to get picked up by a black SUV, and a guy asking them if they wanted champagne. So champagne, Drake, champagne poppy. And at the time I loved Drake, so I thought about getting out of the car because they was drunk. They was like, girl, you wanna come? Because you know, and this one girl with this British accent. That's a whole nother story. Anyway, night was crazy. I was in like the North Hollywood, Van Nuys, cusp area by like 2-3 a.m. and I get a passenger. It had been slow for like 30 minutes. I picked this passenger up, and this is where it all goes down. Now, it had never been an interesting night, but it was interesting in a like drunk people interesting way. I pick up a guy. He get in my car. I'm like, hey, what's up, nigga? Like off rip, mad cool. He get in the car. I look at his hand, and I see a to-go plate.
What's up, sweetheart? How you doing? I can see my to-go plate right here. You don't mind if it's food in here? Alright. Had a long night. And your seatbelt a little jammed. Damn. I forgot to get cornbread. Yo, you mind if I go back inside? No. Alright, no, it's cool. We can start the ride, alright.
In my head, I'm like, niggas, and I don't know why it dawned on me. I'm like, niggas in LA don't really be taking to-go plates. And something in my gut was telling me I was going in a bad part of town. This whole night, I was in like the Hollywood area. I was in Beverly Hills, Woodland Hills. Like I had been all over the place, jumping from party to party because people was clubbing and stuff and going to like house parties. So I didn't really end up in like LA, like, and we didn't start driving yet. So I'm accepting a ride, and with Uber, they don't tell you where the passenger wants to go before you, excuse me, before you accept the ride. And I turn it on and I'm like, oh, I've never been to this side of town. What's this?
Oh yeah, that's Inglewood. Yeah, that area for real. That's my hood. That's where I grew up for real. We cool around there though. You ain't gotta worry about this, y'all. I can tell you're not from around here.
So he can tell I'm not from around here. Probably the accent. Maybe when I get in the hood, I should shut my mouth so don't nobody ask no questions. Do I got on too much red? Okay, and in my head, I'm like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take him to Inglewood, and then I'm gonna turn my app off. Because if you turn your app off, or I could have turned my app off on the way, but if you turn your app off, you won't get any ride requests. So we having decent conversation, we vibing, silent, half the ride, chilling the rest of the ride. He asked me where I'm from, blah, 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 blah. Baby. We get close to the area and the energy just start changing in the air. Like, it just look. I don't like other people's hoods. I grew up down the hill, East Baltimore. I don't got no problem with where I'm from. But when I'm going places and I don't know, it's crazy because you'll have a comfort in your own hood, like a place that you grew up in, but you go somewhere else and it's like, nigga, I don't know y'all. Y'all know I don't know y'all. I sound like I'm not from here. Like, I know they're trying to games and stuff. Do I have on too much red? Like, I had on like a red shirt and like, I don't want y'all thinking I'm doing nothing. Like, niggas be getting, yeah. And I'm dropping him off, I guess, at another party. Cool. I get a ding, ding, ding. I'm like, I forgot to turn my app off. Now, y'all might be thinking, girl, you could have just denied the ride. With Uber, basically, it's not bad if you decline a ride, but there's a ratio. It's confusing. It's hard to explain. But basically, I did not want to decline a ride. I'm still trying to make money. I'm trying to ride till 5 o'clock in the morning. It's only 3, baby. So I'm like, hopefully, if I drive 15 minutes, I'm just not in the hood no more. Boy, was I wrong. I'm driving and on my way to my destination, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm 5 minutes, I'm almost there. I'm pulling up to the street, right? There's a Cadillac car like parked. If this is the road, right? I'm driving this way. There's a Cadillac parked like this. Like to block off the road like this. And y'all gonna think I'm exaggerating. I pull up, mind you, I'm driving like this. Let me use this thing headset. I'm driving like this, I'm like. And as I'm pulling up to the car that's parked to the side, they got the music wailing out their car. And you know, they over there dancing, crip walking and stuff. And I'm like, I'm in the wrong part of town. I'm in the wrong part of town. My intuition like, run, go, go, go. But I'm gonna look suspicious if I spin this bit around. It was a small road. So for me to make a U-turn, I would have had to nigga, as long as it would have took me there, shot my ass. So they looking at me weird already. The one nigga come up to my car and he like trying to look in there. The pants down here. So I'm sweating. I'm like, why don't I have a gun, Taylor? Why didn't you get your gun license? Why don't you have your taser? Why don't you have your pocket knife? So many things that I have for self-defense and I don't have it right now. What's going on? So I rolled my window. I was like, excuse me, I'm just trying to get to my Uber passenger. He look at my car, he like this. I'm like, if I die trying to pay my rent tonight, Lord, what I do to deserve this? Two more of the niggas come on, they looking to the side, they look at each other, they like, and he move his car, he's like, my bad, sweetheart. I'm like, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Good one. It was literally like something out of a movie. I thought that was it. So I get past there, right? And I finally get to my passenger house. As I'm pulling up to the house, I hear music. I'm like, is it more bull crap? I see red and blue lights. I'm like, police officers? Police is parked outside the party. There's a party going on. Police is parked outside the party, I guess. And I'm like, please don't let my passenger be at this party. And lo and behold, my passenger at this party. Niggas on the front lawn with 40s. The thing that blew my mind the most when I pulled up to this party was that I saw somebody literally chilling, drinking a 40 with their infant in their hand. I can't make this up. Like, I'm literally driving up to this party and I see a girl chilling with a 40 in her hand with the infant sitting there. And niggas is just vibing. Like, I even saw somebody walk by and tell her congratulations, and I was just like, this is a lot. Yeah, y'all take the blood. Girl, I can't blow the smoke in his face like 1 month. Oh, you about to go? Hold on here. Damn, baby. Oh, God. I blew the smoke in his mouth. It'd be alright. Oh, shoot. Gotta pay. Niggas in the lawn just dancing. And I'm like, this is some ghetto shit. If I done seen, this is, I'm in the hood. Like, I need to go home. The police officers don't make me feel better. I don't feel safe around police. Nigga, I'm scared. Like, the police don't make me feel comfortable. So I'm just sitting here, I'm like, if something go down, they just gonna wrap me in with the rest of the niggas. Like, what the freak? On Uber, when you arrive, you hit arrive. Once you hit arrive, that timer starts, sweetie. Not Uber, I'm sorry, Lyft. Once you hit that arrive, that timer start. I think the time is like 7 or 8 minutes though. So it's a long, honey. I'm just praying that this girl is drunk, right? With her friends, and they just forget they ordered an Uber or something, and they just order it later, because I don't want to pick up what's coming out of there. The police out there, and I'm like, okay. So the police just there waiting for something to happen, I believe. What was my passenger name? Shania, something like that. I'm looking for Shania. I hear yelling. I hear it's like 3 or 4 people yelling coming out the party. So this how the argument going. I hear the nigga like, where you going? Where you going? I told you not to disrespect me like that in front of my niggas. Da, 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 da. And she like, boy, get on my face because blah, 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 blah. And the friend like, come on, girl, come on, he not worth it. Da, 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 da. So the 2 girls are obviously together. And so she's like, that's why, no, because you in there with that bitch. You in there with that bitch. And then a girl comes chasing after the nigga. I'm guessing that's that bitch. So she comes out, she's like, I don't know who the freak you think you talking to, because I'm not no bitch and I'm da-da-da. I'm in the driver's seat like. So I start inching up, right? I start driving away just in case cause you know on Lyft they tell you what kind of car, license plate and all that. So I'm like, let me just inch up just in case and see if she can't find me. So the time is going down right now. It's 3 minutes left on the clock and I'm like, Lord, please. Because if these 3 minutes go up, I still get paid. And it's on her. And he like, no, don't leave, don't leave. And the friend like, come on, girl, you gotta find your Uber. I said, gotta find your Uber. I'm an Uber. And I don't see no other cars out here. He was like, Shania, come on, stop playing. I said, he said Shania. He said her name Shania. Don't come in here with that bullshit. That's not Shania. That can't be Shania. Shania is like, I don't care. These police can see everything I'm finna do to you because I'm da-da-da. I'm like, is she threatening him? Shania. Are we threatening? Do we have weapons? What's going on? So he started tugging on his pants. And to me, that means you feeling the same. So I'm like, I'ma just inch up. When I tell y'all, I drove all the way, just enough so I could see what was going on. But I drove far enough to where it was dark. I turned my lights off and they couldn't see me. She drunk. And he like, oh my gosh, no, cause where you think you going? I don't care, I don't even give a fuck about this bitch. So the girl was like, what the fuck you mean you don't give a fuck about me? That's not what you was saying, well, blah, blah, blah. So they start tussling. The girl starts charged towards the other girl. Then the other girl, they get like one punch in, and the nigga in between trying to hold them apart. The girl started digging in her purse. I said, oh yeah. 1 minute left. I'm sweating because if Shania get in this car and bring that BS and somebody start like shooting at my car or something, guess what? Nothing, because I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just die. She see my car, right? Mind you, it's like 20 seconds left on the clock, right? Shania like, who is Taylor? My Uber driver name is Taylor. She in a red car and she blah, 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 blah. I'm like, they gonna see my car. They gonna see my car. Cause she start walking. I'm like, Lord Jesus. She literally, the nigga starts chasing after her while she looking for my car, right? And I'm like, 10, 9, 8. I literally see her in my rear view mirror. She's like, oh, there she go. Come on, girl, come on. There go your ride. She right there, she right there. Shania like quick walking, right? And I'm sitting here. I'm like, so Shania running towards my car with her friend. The other friend is following behind her. The nigga digging in his pants while he coming towards me. Feminist in me was thinking, wow, I should really stay here and let them get in my car and drive them away. But part of me was also, I'm not with the bullshit. So guess what I did? Beep, beep, beep. Ryder did not show up for ride. You know how quick I got out of that bitch? I got out of that. I said, skirt. I got out of there so fast that I just knew that cop would pull out and just pull me over for a goddamn ticket because I got out of there. Because let me tell you something. In my mind, this is how the scenario would have went. They would have came to my car as close as the nigga and the girl was following behind them. The girl they just was tussling with. They was like, this was Shania and her friend, and this was the nigga and that bitch. This was the nigga and that bitch. This close. You think that she finna open my car doors and that nigga wasn't ready sliding that car behind her, and now I got niggas fighting in my backseat? This ain't Insecure, sweetie. Y'all want to be tussling in my backseat. That's not what's gonna happen. So you would think I would turn off my app for the night, but baby, rent had to be paid and I only had made about $400 by that time. So guess where I was? I drove to a nicer neighborhood where, you know, most niggas knew how to act. And I ended off the night making $800 or something like that. Maybe, was it $800? I don't know. But my rent was good. So car payment and rent was good. That was the difference that I needed to make sure that was paid. So, and I did end up back in the hood that night, and it was to pick up some guy that, it was just a lot. Shania, I hope you got home. I ain't see no crazy stories, so I'm pretty sure you did. But yeah, that's the end of that crazy story. If you choose to drive Uber or Lyft, especially as a woman, be careful. Niggas is crazy. Niggas is crazy out here. If y'all could hear the rest of the stories that I had that night, it was somebody throwing up in the back seat. The girlfriend had threw up, and then the boyfriend was like, oh no, she threw up, so I'm gonna throw up. So luckily I had 2 barf bags, and I had to hope that they wasn't gonna throw up again because it was overflowing. It was about to overflow in the thing. I was just like, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and let me know if y'all want to hear any more story time. Bye.
Keep talking, these bitches be capping, they gon' make a nigga do it. My whole foreign and no bitch a bad, I fuck around and make 'em